YouTubes, how you all doing? I hope you're all well. In this video we've got an Audi A5 in that's in for repair and paint, and in this video I'll be showing you the paint stages, so primer, paint preparation and the painting of this repair that we've done. If you haven't seen the repair, this is the second part of a two-part video. In the first part I show you the damage and the repair and the filler work that I had to do on this Audi A5 door and quarter panel. So in this part, this is going to be the paint, the primer and the paint prep and the painting. So I'll give you a quick look of it. It's all ready now to prime, all masked up. And yeah, if you haven't seen that video yet, go and check it out. Filler repairs, filler work on an Audi A5. And then you'll be able to see sort of what the damage was like and how much I had to do on it. But it's all come out okay. It all feels all right to me. So normally you've got to see with your hands with this, you know, with filler work, because it's hard to see it once you start getting the filler in there. But it may look a little bit messy, but it feels okay. But we'll see when we get the primer on. So the primer's all mixed up and ready to go. All this arch has come out okay. The feature line looks okay on this door and it all feels okay. So the primer's all mixed up and ready to go. So it's Mipa 4+1, the primer I'm putting on this. It's a high build mixing ratio, not their spray filler mixing ratio, but their high build. So 4+1, I've done it in a real light grey. White sometimes can get a bit lost, so I've done it real light grey. And it's going on with my Satajet 100B with a 1.8. I'll be putting, it'll be about 3.5 coats, so I'll put a lightish coat on for the first coat and then 3 wet ones on. So once I get the primer on there, we can see the primer on there wet, we can gauge then to see how straight this door looks. So yeah, I'll get my mask on, get the booth on, and we get some primer on it. That's the Audi A5 all primed now, and it looked pretty good in primer. I was quite happy with it. So I'll give you a quick look. So I'm just going to start prepping it now. There was a few pinholes, nothing sort of major, but even the tiny little ones, I think I've caught all of them. So just put that straight over the primer, and then when I block it all down, they're sort of blocked with it. So yeah, it's looking all right. So I'm going to have to prep this in the booth. Reese is in the other garage, and yeah, the weather's really bad outside, so I'm going to have to prep it in here, which I don't like. But I'm going to have to. But I'll have the hoover on and dust extraction, and I'll try and keep it down to a minimum. It's a bit big to be prepping in here. I don't mind doing a little bit of primer in here now and again, but I'm going to have to do it. It breaks my heart, but I'm going to have to do it. But it'll all clean up, and I'll make sure everything's clean. So I'm just going to block this now. I'm going to block it all over with 320. So guide coat it, block it all with 320 all over, and then guide coat it again and DA it off with 500 grit. So this job I'm going to be doing in 2K solid. The reason why I'm doing it in 2K solid is, for some reason, Audis with this colour, Ibis white, which is Y9C, they're done in 2K solid from the factory. So I've been here before with these. Well, I've matched the colour. So I'll be doing it in Mipa OC, which is direct gloss, 2K direct gloss. Colour's pretty good on this edge to edge. I've done it a few times. I've spectroed it as well and just tweaked the formula slightly. It was minimal, just to improve it. But even the standard shade off the camera said it was really close. And I've done it edge to edge a few times now. And yeah, I do it in 2K solid because of that reason. They're done in direct gloss from factory. So it's a bit backwards really to be doing it in base coat and clear. So I'm going to go edge to the wing. I did do one once in base coat and clear. And it didn't match very well. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in 2K solid. You know, that's how it is from the factory. So they're definitely 2K solid, because as soon as you rub any of the paint on these, you get pure white dust come off straight away. So yeah, I'm going to just paint the door and the quarter panel and the sill trim edge to edge, and do it in Mipa OC 2K direct gloss. I'll get set up with my hoover and get blocking it. So I use it on the recess, so with on the filler work as well as blocking the primer. I use these 3M blocks. They're similar to obviously the flat ones, but they're curved. So you get two attachments. These detach from here. So you get an outer curve one, and you get one with an inner curve, and they are really handy for getting in, you know, curves in panels, like inward curves and under feature lines that may be a bit curvy. You can use sort of parts of it or all of it. They're a really handy block to have, and they really help with shaping in curves, because sometimes you can get it where it looks a bit like a 50p piece, where you try and use the edge of a flat block to sort of get in there. These are really useful for smoothing out recesses and curved recesses. So I'll just sort of go through this curved area in here with this. It gets it nice and straight, and it keeps it nice and, this curve nice and smooth as well, without sort of digging into it with a flat block. You can use the edge of a flat block and carve it out and shape it, but you get a little bit better result with these. These are really handy. That's the part number on it, which is 50729. But they're handy blocks, these are. Right, that's the Audi A5 all prepped now, masked up, so I'll give you a quick look. It all blocked down okay, it seems okay. A couple of little breakthroughs, so I'll stick a little bit of just a little bit of white aerosol primer on those little breakthroughs just to cover them up. So I'm going to be doing this job in 2K direct gloss. So Mipa OC I'll be doing it in. It's 2:1, and they say 0 to 5% thinner, but I over thin it because it can be quite stodgy. I may have mentioned in previous videos that the OC stands for 1 coat, but it does tell you to apply it in 2 coats, but it's quite a high solid, so it's got really good coverage, but to get a nice flat sort of finish with it is quite difficult, especially at the mixing ratio. So I over thin it by 10%, so I put 15% thinner in it. I try to do that exactly, well, between 12 and 15, but I do it by weight, and I work out sort of exactly what that would be on the scales. And then yeah, keep the paint warm, helps it flow, and then I put the pressure up as well on my gun to 2.2 bar, so it atomises it a bit finer. And this is my 2K gun, so it's a Satajet 4000B. I put it on with that, and yeah, it goes on alright like that. You know, a lot of these direct glosses, they are really sort of classed as industrial like commercial paint, really. So, you know, to put them on the body of the car, sometimes you can't match the factory orange peel with them. They can be tricky. The older ones, the MS, so the MS2Ks, you can get nice flat glassy finishes with them, but they got the opposite with them, that they don't cover that well on some colours. You have got the option to put an MS binder in this system. It is a binder system, so you can have it as the OC, you can have it as an MS, which doesn't cover as well but lays down flatter. You can change hardness from HS to MS, but I find the gloss isn't very good with the MS hardener. So the best gloss is with the OC. They do a PUR, which is more for commercial, industrial, so I don't know, like painting RSJs and stuff like that, and machinery and plant. So yeah, there's loads of options with Mipa direct gloss, and obviously you can have it matte and satin, but the OC is the best for you know, for cars. The OC version of it, it's just it doesn't go on that great finish wise. So there's pros and cons with both, with, you know, changing the product what it is, but you gain one thing by changing something, but you lose something else. So I find I get the best gloss with the OC, and if I over thin it and play about with my gun settings a little bit and manipulate a little bit, I'll get a good gloss end and an okay finish. It's never as good a finish as what it would be with clear coat, but these Audis, they are done in direct gloss for definite. Ibis white is for definite. I've come across it a few times now, where you rub the paint on them and it's white and chalky, the dust. So they're definitely done in 2K. So I'm doing this one in 2K. Colour match should be okay, we'll see anyway. So anyway, it's already in the booth. So I'm going to get the paint mixed up, and we'll get the paint on there.